To race number 9, the penultimate round, as Sean Gallagher would say, of the NRSL Reese's Late Model Series. This is the final road course stop for these drivers before the championship week next week at Zenjoltis. So we're going to see what kind of points battles we'll have heading into the finale, and it will end up all be taking place here at the winding road course on the west coast. This is Napa Valley Infineon Raceway. We're getting ready for 17 laps of non-stop action. Joseph Strigley will line up on the pole position alongside of Ryan Cooper. Those are two drivers so far this season that have not picked up a C5 win yet. As it stands, they are not mathematically in contention for the championship, but if they could either one win here today, who knows? They may end up being able to get themselves mathematically in the hunt for the championship once we reach Zenjoltis next week. We'll take a look at your full starting lineup for today's race. There you see it, a lot of the C5 drivers starting up there at the front. Then you got Kyle Matthews, he's the highest starter of RX ahead of Dylan Poteet. Johnny Gardner, you'll notice, will be starting behind two RX machines, and he is the points leader for C5 coming into this race. He has a 4-point advantage over Jessica Shelton, 6 points over Carson Gum, 7 points over Jake Haynes, who lost the points lead last week at Watkins Glen, I should say. And then Benjamin Miles is now mathematically in the hunt. He is 8 points back in C5 for RX. Nick Alton still continues to lead that, but Dylan Poteet, we see he's starting second of the RX drivers. He's only 5 points back, and a long shot of Ian Dutta, 11 points back. For MG1, Austin LaPlante's the new points leader there, but by only 2 points over James Qualls, 3 points over former points leader of that division, Isaac Romero, and Ryan Acosta is now mathematically in the hunt, 6 points back. Let's get the command, and then we'll fill you in on MG2.
Drivers, start your engines.
And then MG2, pretty self-explanatory. It's a runaway at the moment for Charles Sanford, who's gone to victory lane 4 times this season in MG2 racing. And then you've got Zach Buchanan and John Acosta. They're the long shots, both 13 points back. If Charles Sanford can finish out today more than 10 points ahead of second in the standings in MG2, he automatically will take the championship regardless of what happens next week at Zenjoltis. So we'll see what happens as Joseph Strigley and Ryan Cooper will get us underway here at Infineon. No caution flags will wave. There will only be local yellows to let drivers know if there's trouble up ahead of them. Here we go. Green flag is out here at Infineon. Biggest trouble spot are these first corners up here. A lot of drivers have trouble maneuvering them. See if anybody goes off track. Looks like everybody for the most part back there was okay. There you see John Acosta going off track, but everybody for the most part keeps it together, and we're still going as one car went off track back there. That's Dylan Young, losing some valuable positions right there. Dylan Young not in the hunt for the championship right now. Gonna lose a spot there to Johnny Gardner. That's very important for Johnny. He wants to have as good a points lead heading into Zenjoltis as he can. Battle going on here. Jessica Shelton moving by Jake Haynes, who lost the points lead last week at the Glen in C5. Got Dusty Allen right behind him. Meanwhile, the top two have gotten away, but there's Benjamin Miles trying to reel them in. Now, last week, Benjamin Miles had a good enough run to get himself mathematically back in the hunt for the C5 championship. If he could reel these drivers in, maybe pick up his second victory of the season, that really could put him in good position. As we're going to look at the rear of the field, Pichu London has run into problems, as has Joshua Osborne. Osborne's not coming to pit road, though. Pichu London looks like he is going to come to pit road to repair his machine. Luke Walker back here. There's John Acosta. One of the long shots to try and reel in Charles Sanford. Let's see where the 5's at. Wow, Austin LaPlante's way back there. Points leader of MG1. There is Sanford. He is ahead right now of both John Acosta and Zach Buchanan. You can see Zach is back there. So right now, the points gap would be more than 13 points from Sanford back to Buchanan and John Acosta, which means Charles Sanford could leave Infineon as the champion and wouldn't even have to race next week at Zenjoltis, even though I'm sure he would. Trying to look and see who's leading RX. I think it's probably Kyle Matthews. Yes, it is. Kyle Matthews leading, and right behind him is Ian Dutta, who's one of the long shots for the RX Championship right now. 11 points back coming into this race. He's got to beat Dylan Poteet and Nick Alton in this race in order to still be mathematically eligible. Right now, Nick Alton's behind him, about 4 cars back, and right behind him is Dylan Poteet. So right now, Ian Dutta keeping his championship hopes alive. Let's look back for MG1's current leader, and that would be Brandon Worth in the 23. Right now, 21st overall. Brandon Worth not in the hunt for the championship right now, but running very well. And then you got Caleb Farrell, who had a heartbreak last week. Ended up, I don't think he even completed 1 lap. Maybe he completed just 1 and wasn't able to continue after that. He was one of the first retirees at the Glen. He's running very well right now, highest of the MG2 machines. He's the current MG2 leader. Right now, 22nd overall, and made his way around an RX machine of Michael Norman. The driver's trying to run him down is Danny Wells. The driver trying to run down Brandon Worth is James Qualls. James Qualls right now came in 2 points behind Austin LaPlante in the standings. And LaPlante is right there, which means that he and Qualls would be tied right now, and now they would not be. LaPlante would have a 1-point advantage at the current moment. And there is Isaac Romero. He came in 3 points back. So you got the 80, the 88, and the 48. All separated by 3 points in the standings of MG1, all together right here on the racetrack right now. So this is not only a battle for position, this is a battle in points between these 3 in Class MG1. Move back up here to the front. Kyle Matthews continuing to be in control of RX, but he's got Ian Dutta right behind him. As up closer to the front, Joseph Srigley still leads, but Jessica Shelton has gotten around both Benjamin Miles and Ryan Cooper. She's now moved up to the 2nd position. And this is exactly what she needs to do, because the driver she's trying to get away from is Johnny Gardner. And wait a minute, we may have well, I thought we were going to have a change for the lead, but both the 75 and the 98 got off track. You've got a total of 5 cars separation between Shelton and Johnny Gardner, which means right now, as the points would stand, Shelton by 1 point would be the points leader. The driver that really has fallen off the last couple of weeks is Carson Gum, after he was co-points leader with Jessica Shelton after, I think it was after Riverside. He had a poor run at Diablo Valley. He didn't exactly have the best of runs last week at the Glen, and he's not running particularly well here at Infineon. He may be very quickly fading from view in the hunt for the championship. May come down at the moment between Gardner, Shelton, Miles, and Jake Haynes. Miles and Jake Haynes right now running 4th and 5th. And both running ahead of Johnny Gardner, which means that they would still be in the hunt. Right now, I think it would be Shelton would have 1 point advantage over Johnny Gardner, 2 points over, or make that 3 points over Jake Haynes, and 3 points over Benjamin Miles. It would still be awfully close heading into next week, and Shelton wants more. She's trying to reel in Joseph Srigley here. Srigley's just trying to get to victory lane. I don't think he's won yet this season. He and Ryan Cooper, I think, are the only 2 that have not yet won in Class C5. About to complete 5 laps. Let's jump back, see if the RX battle has heated up at all. No. Kyle Matthews has actually scampered away from Ian Dutta, who is right back here now. And then there is Nick Alton in the 87, just 2 cars behind Ian Dutta. Dylan Poteet has also lost touch with the 87. He's now way back here. A number of RX drivers are ahead of him. I saw Jessica Villanueva up there, Sam Young, Seth Cole, and Stephanie Gardner. So Dylan Poteet losing ground to the, well, yeah, he would still be the points leader in RX, Nick Alton. Caleb Farrell right now is 20th overall, and what a great run he's having right now for MG2. I'm hopefully not jinxing him, but a great run there for the Ford Mustang, as he currently leads MG2, and then right now Brandon Worth continues to lead MG1, and this has been the best battling on track as far as points are concerned. It's been fun to watch the 80, the 88, and the 48. Qualls, Romero, and LaPlante, all separated in the points by 3 points. And all 3 of them running 24th, 25th, 26th on track at the moment. The way they are currently running, the way they are situated, LaPlante would still be the points leader by only... No. LaPlante and Qualls would be co-points leaders right now, according to the points, and Isaac Romero would only be 2 points back. It's shaping up to look like Class C5 and Class MG1 may be our best points battles heading into next week at Zenjoltis, because there's Charles Sanford. He's not leading MG2 right now, but he's running awfully well in MG2, and the big thing for him is he's running ahead of both Zach Buchanan and John Acosta, which would mean his points lead over those two would be more than 10 points. And the importance of that means that there is no way anybody could challenge him for the championship. So that will not probably be a battle at all. Whoa, Dylan Poteet off track and losing more ground. So there will more than likely not be a battle for the championship for MG2. It'll more than likely be Charles Sanford officially the champion, or unofficially the champion, when we leave Infineon here today. And then, as I just was about to mention, and Dylan Poteet kind of beat me to it, Dylan Poteet not having the best of runs, and we just saw he made contact with some left side damage on that Furniture Row Chevrolet Camaro. And it's looking more and more like the battle for RX may not take place heading into next week, unless something drastic happens in the closing stages of this race and in the race next week at the Superspeedway of Zenjoltis. Because up here is Nick Alton. He did lose a spot just now to Joseph Bryant, but it's certainly not going to be enough to hinder him from growing his points lead over Dylan Poteet. Ian Dutta is running ahead of him. Ian Dutta, with where he is situated on track right now, ahead of Nick Alton, he would only gain 2 points, which would mathematically still put him in the hunt for the championship. He'd be 9 points back, but it would certainly be a long shot for Ian Dutta once the green flag dropped at Zenjoltis. He needs to either gain more spots, or he needs Nick Alton to lose more spots, and not to C5 drivers, but to RX machines. Next two drivers that would be coming up to Nick Alton would be RX cars, and that is Stephanie Gardner and Jessica Villanueva. Right now, they would be the best friends Ian Dutta could have, and Ian Dutta trying to make his own way of getting into the championship hunt, as he will bypass Kyle Matthews. That is the battle for the lead on track in RX. And Dutta will take the spot. So now put 2 RX machines between himself and Nick Alton, and that would be a 3-point gap that he has closed up. 8 points. Now the advantage that Nick Alton would have over Ian Dutta heading to next week at Zenjoltis. Let's go back and watch that MG1 battle again. Brandon Worth just got sent off track. Speaking of MG1, Austin LaPlante went off track as well. Isaac Romero tries going through the grass to avoid him. And look out. My goodness. Trent Dunham about to go to the inside of Charles Sanford. That, I think, would be for second place out of the MG2 machines. No, third place. I'm sorry. Danny Wells is second place, trying to reel in Caleb Farrell, the current leader of MG2. And we nearly had disaster there with our leaders of the MG1 class. Now Qualls, the leader of MG1. No, he's not the leader of MG1, I'm sorry. Now Qualls ahead of fellow MG1 competitors Austin LaPlante, and Isaac Romero was the biggest loser on that after he had to bail out of the throttle to avoid missing Austin LaPlante. And there is Seth Cole off track. Seth Cole's car has stalled going up the hill, and that's a heartbreak for him. He wasn't at all in contention for the championship in RX, but nonetheless. And Jessica Shelton has gotten around for the lead, gotten around Joseph Srigley. This is extremely important. Huge championship point implications. Shelton now leads. And Johnny Gardner is 6th. Shelton would have a 2-point advantage over Gardner heading into next week. There's Jake Haynes. Jake Haynes would be 7 points back behind Jessica Shelton right now, I believe. And where's Benjamin Miles? Miles is kind of faded from view. There he is. He's way back here. This isn't exactly good for Benjamin Miles. He was 8 points back coming into this race. And now with where Shelton's running and where he's running, that would put him 15 points back behind Jessica Shelton. That's not good for him because he has to keep his margin between himself and the points leader at 10 points at least. Anybody that is 10 points back from the points leader in whatever division after this race are mathematically eliminated from the championship. Ian Dutta, leading Class RX, making a huge case for himself right now to be in the hunt for the championship, but he's going to have to probably beat that driver. He's third right now of the RX drivers. Nick Alton. He's got Joseph Bryant separating himself and Ian Dutta, which means Ian Dutta has only made up 2 points difference between himself and Nick Alton, which would put him mathematically in the hunt, 9 points back, but still a long shot heading into Zen Joltis. Oh, and Kyle Matthews apparently wrecked. That's why I didn't even see him. I was wondering where he went. Caleb Farrell still very much in command of MG2. He's having a great day, but Danny Wells has been right there within striking distance. Can't say that the 84 has been able to rest on his laurels because the Rockstar machine of Danny Wells has been right there in case Caleb Farrell makes a mistake. Austin LaPlante, he got around James Qualls, which now makes him the MG1 leader, I believe. Yes, it does. So LaPlante is now the MG1 leader, trying to look for what would be, I believe it's his third win of the season in MG1. And this would help him as far as the point standings. The only problem is James Qualls is right behind him, so he would only gain 1 point on Qualls. And Qualls right now would be 3 points back heading into next week at Zen Joltis. The one that's missing from all this is Isaac Romero. There he is. Now, right now, I believe, yeah, he would be third place of the MG1 machines. He's got to stay ahead of Anthony McCrory. He would then be third place of the MG1 machines, which means he would only lose 2 points to Austin LaPlante. And it would still be 5 points separation between Romero, LaPlante, and Qualls heading into next week. But here, oh, trouble! Someone spun, and it was LaPlante! It was the 48! The points leader of MG1 has spun it out, and he's going to lose ground. Oh my goodness. He's going to lose ground to Qualls and Romero. That is huge. So Qualls, I think, would take over the points lead in MG1 now. This is probably, C5's been a good points battle, there's no doubt about it, but MG1 has been doggone fun to watch each week. And there you see Ryan Acosta. He's trying to reel in Isaac Romero. He also is in the hunt for the championship right now. He came into this race only 6 points back. And with LaPlante having his struggles, I don't know, Ryan Acosta could capitalize and keep himself in the picture for the MG1 championship. We didn't mention him because he really wasn't up there battling with Qualls and LaPlante and Romero, but now, all of a sudden, his name's going to come towards the forefront here as a potential driver to battle for the championship as well. He's right now 2 positions ahead of Austin LaPlante. That was huge right there. A costly, costly mistake for LaPlante. And here's a battle for a lead. MG2, you got Danny Wells trying to reel in Caleb Farrell. Let's look up towards the front at the C5 drivers to see if anything has developed at all. Not much. Shelton still leads over Strigley, Cooper, Allen, then you got Haynes and Gardner. Dylan Young, Miles, Baldwin, Ian Dutta still in command of RX. The driver he'd have to worry about is Joseph Bryant, but he's quite a ways back. So let's jump back again to this battle for MG2. Danny Wells losing a little bit of touch now with Caleb Farrell, but Caleb Farrell, that's the closest Danny Wells has been to challenging that 84 and trying to close the gap up coming off turn 11. Meanwhile, the leader of MG1 right now, right there, James Qualls. This would be, I believe, Qual's third win of the season. If he can close the deal, he's trying to get around the now lap machine of Seth Cole, who stalled up here at the top of this hill a little while ago. Driver he would have to worry about would be Isaac Romero, who came in only 1 point behind Qual, so we'd only be 2 points behind him if the race were to end now. There's Anthony McCurry. He is the third place driver for MG1, and fourth place is Ryan Acosta. So Ryan is right there, still in the hunt. He'd lose 2 spots to Qualls, 2 points, which means he'd be 6 points back. Still, if the race were to end now, and where did LaPlante go? There he is, he's way back here. Joshua Osborne separates himself from Ryan Acosta. There's John Cittadino, Luke Walker, Zach Buchanan. Poor run for him today, 33rd overall, and he undoubtedly will be out of the hunt for the championship next week. It looks like Charles Sanford's going to win MG2. Stephanie Gardner way back here now. Something apparently happened to her. Cody Lamas all the way back here and about to actually get lapped by the 75 of Jessica Shelton. Shelton en route to what would be, I believe, her second win of the season. She ended up winning back at Desert Rally. Looking for her second win and the points lead in C5 heading into next week. Next time by, it will be the white flag as she goes to the inside of Cody Lamas. Nobody's even close enough to challenge her. Joseph Srigley, the pole sitter, he's just riding there in second, but there's just no way he can close up the gap unless Shelton makes a mistake. There you saw the flagman waving the white flag, the final lap here at Infineon. And as things stand, it looks like it's going to basically, for C5, we're going to have a pretty good points battle still between Shelton, Gardner, Jake Haynes, and possibly Benjamin Miles, but it may come down to just 3. For RX, it looks like it might be Nick Alton versus Ian Dutta. Dylan Poteet might still be mathematically eligible. We'll see if that'll be the case. It's going to be really close still between LaPlante, Qualls, Romero, and Ryan Acosta for MG1, but MG2, I think the fat lady has sung in that one. Charles Sanford will be leaving Infineon with a big enough points gap to take the championship for MG2 regardless of what happens next week at Zen Joltis. Down through the S's, Jessica Shelton will head to the paperclip turn 11. Through turn 11 she comes. Jessica Shelton off the final corner is going to pick up her second win of the season and put her name at the forefront for the championship for C5. She takes the checkered flag for C5 at Infineon. We're looking for the 31 of Ian Dutta. There he is. Ian Dutta is going to capture, I believe it's his first win in RX. He will win for RX and keep his championship hopes alive here at Infineon. MG1, where would that be at? Oh, Danny Wells got around Caleb Farrell for MG2. And Danny Wells will win the MG2 race here at Infineon. I don't know where Farrell went. There he is. And MG1 will go to James Qualls, his third win of the season for that class. Wow, Farrell must have made a mistake or something. Danny Wells got around him. So it's going to be Shelton, Dutta, James Qualls, and Danny Wells. Those are your class winners for today's race. I'm not certain if the standings are going to be official or not. They may be waiting for the 29 of Cody Lamas to come back around, because he was a lap machine. I don't know if he's even going around to take his checkered flag or not. And the standings are now official. So there you go. So Shelton wins. Let's see if I can do some mathematics in my head right now. With Shelton winning and Johnny Gardner finishing in 5th place, Shelton's going to make up 4 points. According to my calculations, we're going to have another dead tie heading into the season finale at Zen Joltis between Johnny Gardner and Jessica Shelton. Carson Gum, I don't know if he's going to still be in contention or not. With where he finished, he ended up finishing 5 spots behind Johnny Gardner. and that would put him 11 points back. He is now eliminated from the championship hunt as Carson Gunn with that run. He needed to finish at least one spot further up past O'Neal Baldwin in order to still be in contention. Benjamin Miles, also being 8th out of the 10 C5 drivers, is also out of the hunt. Let's see if Jake Haynes is still alive. He finished only one position behind Johnny Gardner. And if Jessica Shelton would be tied with Gardner, Jake Haynes would be the long shot driver. He would be 8 points back. So as it stands, we only have 3 drivers that are going to be able to compete for the C5 championship. Shelton and Gardner will be tied, and 8 points back will be Jake Haynes. So those will be your drivers that will battle for the championship for C5. Now for RX. Let's try and figure this out. Ian Dutta will keep himself in contention, finishing 2 spots ahead of Nick Alton, which means that he is going to be only 9 points back. He'll be a long shot, but he was 9 points back. Now, Nick Alton ended up finishing 4 positions ahead of Dylan Poteet on track. Poteet will also be 9 points back. So it's going to be Alton with the points lead, and Dylan Poteet, Ian Dutta, both 9 points back. Here's how this situation is going to have to fit itself. Nick Alton is going to have to finish dead last of the RX drivers, and either Ian Dutta or Dylan Poteet are going to have to win Class RX next week at Zandjoltis in order to win the championship. That's how that one's going to go down. MG1, this may be the closest points battle that we'll see on track next week. James Qualls gets the victory. He's more than likely going to take the points lead heading into the finale. Isaac Romero finished 2 MG1 drivers behind him, so he is going to be 3 points back. And with where Austin LaPlante finished, let's see how many points behind Qualls he was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looks like 6. He's going to be 4 points behind James Qualls. So we've got Qualls points leader, Romero, wait a minute. Romero would be 4 points back. LaPlante would be 4 points back. And then Ryan Acosta, is he still in the hunt? Let's see. He finishes 1, 2, 3 spots behind Qualls. Man, he's going to be 7 points back. So according to what I've got, it's going to be James Qualls, the points leader. Austin LaPlante, Isaac Romero will be each 4 points back. And a total of, I think I said 6 points or 7 points. Is it 6 or 7? Let me calculate real quick one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. He's going to be 8 points back. Will be Ryan Acosta. So those 4 are still in the hunt. That's the most that we're going to have in a class that are going to be eligible for the championship. 4 there for MG1. And then Charles Sanford, he didn't take the win for MG2. However, let's see. 1, 2, 3. He finished 4th of the MG2, or no, 5th of the MG2 drivers. And the big thing was he finished in the 26th position. The drivers that were trying to run him down, Zach Buchanan finished in 33rd. John Acosta finished in 27th behind Sanford, which means those drivers are mathematically eliminated from the championship. They would be more than 10 points back, which means Charles Sanford will be your champion for MG1, regardless of what happens next week at Zandjoltis. We ended up having 2 drivers finish off the lead lap, Cody Lama, Seth Cole. 4 drivers out of the race, Kyle Matthews, Brandon Worth, Pichu Lund, and Prudence Littlejohn. None of them were in contention for the championship anyways, so those DNFs really didn't hurt them as far as their championship hopes. So, we'll have 3 drivers battling for C5. 2 of them are tied right now atop the point standings. We'll have 3 drivers battling for RX, although 2 of them are going to be having to be doing a Hail Mary, do or die, all or nothing situation next week. 4 drivers separated by 8 points for the MG1 battle. That'll probably be the best battle next week. And the MG2 championship is wrapped up. Charles Sanford will take it no matter what happens next week. So thank you all so much for watching. You'll see the official point standings after this. Everything that I just muddled through, you'll see in confirmed plain standings text, and you will see what the points battle will be heading into next week. All that stuff I said basically just amounts to one thing. If you are more than 10 points behind the points leader heading into the finale, you are eliminated from the championship. If you are less than 10 points or 10 points maximum, you still have a shot at winning the championship. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Congratulations to our winners here today. Jessica Shelton for C5, Ian Dutta for RX, Danny Wells for MG2, and James Qualls for MG1. We'll see you guys next week for the season finale at Zenjoltis, as you've been watching the NRSL Reese's Late Model Series on the NRSL Sports Channel, offline racing at its best. So long from Infineon.